anytime there's like kids or teenagers going through like some crazy gnarly divorce in their household, I so badly want to be like, I promise it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to get through this, like you're actually going to be a much more interesting and stronger person because of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, you experience something like that and you get on the other side of it? It's just like, yeah, it's truly like, well, okay, what next? I can do this. Okay, so picture this scene with me for a second. It's one of those sticky summer nights in mid-July. You know the kind, one of the ones where it's so hot out it can make a Koch brother start to admit that climate change is real. And you almost wish your skin would melt off, because even getting butt naked isn't cooling you down.
As you can see, I can't stay with you, dear. I'm melting like a snow cone in Phoenix.
For the rest of the summer, we can live inside the refrigerator.
It's called punishment, not punishment. Now go on back to your room. Get hot, swallow your spit.
I'm deeply struggling to pick a TV show because our tech overlords have given me so many streaming options that somehow nothing feels like the right thing to watch. Because if you pick the wrong one, you feel betrayed by your own foolish decision. You mean I could have been watching something better this whole time? So, I do the next best, incredibly healthy thing that's definitely not the result of technology completely rewiring my brain's reward system. I start doom scrolling on Instagram. I come across a video of a comedian, and her opening line is, "My dad had a secret family. I've never talked about this on stage. I'm done caring what people think. Oh, and my dad died, which helps. Can I get a..." Because, oh, baby, do I freaking get it. And yes, I will be using the home improvement grunt as often as humanly possible on this show. Who let Tim Allen do that? Why is it so perfect? Did sitcoms in the 90s just hand white men a microphone and say, "Go nuts, you mid-king, and make whatever weird noise feels right"? You can do no wrong, my guy, none.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Quite stylish.
Scramby those eggs. Anyway, I immediately messaged this comedian to come on the podcast so we can compare notes. And believe it or not, she's totally on board. Her name's Julia Austin, and she was named one of Time Out's comics to watch, featured in Fuse's Fresh Faces to Watch, and has built a huge following with her hilarious videos about choosing to be child-free. And last month, she released a stand-up special on YouTube called My Dad Had a Secret Family. And goddamn, I am so glad she said yes to this conversation. Julia's special is hilarious, brutally honest, and turns one of the most surreal family revelations imaginable into something incredibly funny. And today, we go behind those jokes. We talk about discovering that her father had a long history of secrets and a whole other life, how that affects you as an adult, and the remarkably generous perspective she's found on the other side of it all. Honestly, that part really stuck with me. Julia, you saint. And it all starts with the day she stopped by her dad's office unannounced, and her life changed forever. As someone whose own dad had a giant secret tucked away, this conversation felt incredibly cathartic. It was a reminder that so many of us have survived absolutely batshit family situations and somehow still found ways to laugh about them. I cannot wait for you to meet her. Oh, and if you want to help other folks who are succumbing to the doom scroll stop their unending search for stuff that's actually worth their time and attention, how about you leave us a rating and review on your preferred podcast app? It helps people find our show and hopefully feel a little more sane knowing there are families out there that are just as dysfunctional as their own. Now, let's get into it. I'm Holly Brown, a comedian who knows a thing or two about sharing your family secrets with the world. From Next Chapter Podcasts and Companion, this is Everybody Knows But Me, the one with Julia Austin's inner child detective. Today, I am so excited to be joined by somebody that could not be more perfect for this podcast if I wrote it myself. Julia, I am so happy that you are here. You are a stand-up comedian. You have a brand new special out, and it's a mini special, which we were just talking about. Like, oh, you guys, you got 15 minutes. You have time to watch this mini special.
13 minutes.
13 minutes. Oh, even better. I am joined by Julia Austin, a stand-up comedian based in Los Angeles who has a mini special called My Dad Had a Secret Family.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm sure listeners of season 1 of this podcast are like, yeah, Holly, did you make this special? No, I didn't. And I'm so happy that other people have this experience. So before we dive into all of that, and I'm just dying to know what it's like. The word dying is going to come up a lot. I can tell already.
Okay.
I'm so curious to know what it's like to make a special like that, along just the content of the special itself. But because the show is mired in so much sitcom exploration and tie-in of themes, I wanted to ask you, what sitcom world you want to live in?
Can I tell you that I thought about this before, and
Yes, please.
I arrived at 2 answers, and they're both so different. I couldn't decide. Okay, so one of them was Frasier, which your dad
we
worked
talked
on,
about.
and that's like
Yeah.
I'm like, I know it's not that rare to be like, oh, I love Frasier. A lot of people did. It's like an award-winning show that went on forever for a reason, but not that many people I think our age are like obsessed
Totally.
with Frasier, and I like love it. And I've seen the whole thing like 6 times. I feel that I would connect more to those characters.
Mhm.
However, I also like Arrested Development.
Oh, interesting. Because you're saying they're so different. I kind of see some similarities.
You
there.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel that a lot of the characters other than Jason Bateman's
That's true.
are pretty bizarro. Like
Yeah.
they're not very grounded in like anyone that we recognize from real like,
Mhm.
you know, where I
Yeah.
feel like more of the characters in Frasier, you have more who you're like, this is sort of a person with more realistic traits that I might meet in the real world.
Mhm.
But because everyone was so bizarre in Arrested Development, I feel that I have felt about my family as much of a fish out of water as Jason Bateman's character probably felt in that situation. So I'm like, which one would I like versus which one feels more me? So that's like, those are the two.
So now actually the difference, now that actually shows the differences to me even more, because you're so right. It's like, I was seeing immediately the Jason Bateman connection of the intellectualism of Jason Bateman versus everybody else, and that with Frasier. But to me, like Lucille Bluth a little gave Niles Crane vibes at times.
Oh, yeah. Sure,
Just
of course.
true, like a little smart, little knowing what they're doing, a little menace.
Yeah.
And willfully ignorant when they want to be.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean about the differences now, because you're right. One is much more pleasant world to live in than the other, as far as problems that they're tackling and, having money and stuff, like basic stuff of these shows. But what drew you to Frasier? I have to know. What do you love about this world of Frasier?
To be honest, I honestly think the joke writing is fantastic in Frasier. Like, I think that's what I first liked about it. I think Frasier and like Golden Girls are up there for me with like 2 of the best, sharpest just jokes, just good ass jokes that are like flying constantly.
They are fast and rapid.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I hated Frasier because you're a child and you're not watching, nods to Tennessee Williams and being like, oh, I understand that. I hated Frasier. And then once my dad died, I remember really diving in and digging into Frasier more and like calling all my relatives being like, guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but Frasier's incredible. And they're like, yeah, Holly, the Emmys know. You're the last to find out.
Like, no,
So
I've discovered it. I'm going to let everyone know about
it. Kelsey Grammer, you owe me some money. So it makes me so happy to think you're so right that like people our age finding Frasier have such a different appreciation for it, and especially amidst the, I want to say demise of sitcoms, but the gap of sitcoms that we have now.
Yeah.
Frasier just stands out as like, no, they're not what we think they are. They're not just like these humdrum, silly, goofy. They're smart and hilarious and relatable.
Yeah.
At the same time.
But I do feel like people like that type of comedy, I think, is falling out of favor a little bit.
I know.
I think people like stuff where it's more, well, I was going to say situational, but that's literally what sitcom stands for. But like, more things where it's not like jokes written into it, more just what is taking place.
Totally.
Is fun. That feels like
the moment that
like
reality TV entered the zeitgeist, everyone's like,
probably some of that, right?
We can do this.
Right.
You had a very interesting life and you turned it into comedy. You made an entire mini special out of this family secret. And I watched the whole thing last night. I'm obsessed. It was hilarious.
Thank you.
Like front to back, nonstop funny. You made such incredible observations about, the economy, like tying in like things that I never would have tied into these giant secrets that our families hold, or like the economy, or just like flip how the tables can flip. And it's like, oh, the secret family was for this person. Now I'm the secret. It's just
I'm the mistress. Yeah.
So just like, I highly encourage everyone to check it out because listeners of this show would devour it. And I'm just so excited to talk to you about it a little more in depth today because as I know, as a stand-up comedian, a lot of times when we're writing jokes, I'm curious what your thought process going into your special was. We have to think about an audience that has never experienced this and never experienced that kind of difficult, I hate to say it, but like some people just have not experienced that level of, challenge or difficulty in their life.
I like that you hate to say it.
Well,
Some people are just having a good time, unfortunately for them.
I never, ever want to diminish anyone's pain ever, but I can't lie. There is something in me that's like, if the worst you've ever dealt with, and I'm not saying that all divorces are the same and cookie cutter, but if you're going to come to me especially after like listening to my podcast or watching your special and being like, yeah, like my mom and dad got divorced when I was 11 and it was the hardest thing that ever happened to me. I believe you that it was really hard. But add it to the list of things that some people have that. Then they have this, and this on top of that. So the spectrum of what people can understand when it comes to like writing a joke is so different.
Right. I think, and it's also like having your parents divorced just because of one of the more standard reasons, like growing apart.
Totally.
Maybe they married too young. They didn't know who they were yet. Now they're done raising the kids and realize this is a chance to find themselves, whatever. Like it's not easy, but it's not the same level as like having family members who are very fucked up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having family members who are like bad people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
question mark? I love the way you're saying it. Like, am I allowed to, bad people? Yeah. And you talk about that a lot in the special. I thought that honesty was like so refreshing because I talk about that with my dad. He's also passed. And I instantly related to you. Like your opening line, your opening joke talking about how the liberation of being able to do something because someone's passed.
Yeah.
And you're like, finally. Yeah. Because I always make jokes when I'm talking about my dad. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, my dad, shouts out to him. And I'm always looking down at the ground. And it's not, I don't mean that literally.
You're not up there.
I don't know if he's in hell. I can't say for certain. Can't say for certain where that guy landed. But I just instantly related to you on that freedom that you must have felt. And, if you don't mind asking, I can't remember if you said this in the special, like when your dad passed.
About 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. My mom passed 3 years ago as well.
2.5. This September will be 3 years. There it is. Yeah.
And now you're at a place where you want to make a whole special about it. And I imagine this might have been something you wanted to talk about.
Do you know that comedy festival, Big Sky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Big Sky and I remember I was like feeling inspired and I literally sat in my hotel room for like hours between like two of the panels and I don't remember what I felt inspired by, but just like something.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it's laying in your body for years.
Yeah.
It's going to get out sometime.
And I didn't go to Big Sky this past year. I went to the one the year before. So yeah, I think maybe my dad had just died a year before that before I started writing it. Yeah.
But you felt this like freedom in being able to say, okay, not only can I, like, did it help you process the things that you might need to do in order to make the special to begin with? Like the passing of someone that you no longer feel like obligated to hide anything about or sugarcoat anything?
I'll tell you this. My dad, I don't know that he would have sued me if he was alive to see it.
What a sentence already. Like, can't wait to see where this sentence ends up.
Like, I don't know that he would, but what I will say is that someone might have talked him into it. And like, it just became, legally it became easier to put this on tape. Yeah.
Not shocked based off what I heard about your dad in the special, but it's still shocking. It's always going to be shocking when you hear like that your own parents are capable of doing stuff like that.
Right.
Regardless of how many times you've been burned.
Right. It's like, so it's not like, I was talking about him on stages, like since my first year of doing stand-up, just at live shows. But I was never putting any of that on tape before.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing in our industry now. when it's a churn and burn, you got to get that stuff out there, and you're like, oh, these jokes are so good, and I can't put them up.
Yeah.
So freedom on multiple levels then. Freedom to make and freedom to like put the stuff out there you've been working on for years.
And not to mention, like, several minutes of it are about his being sick and eventually dying. And there's some good jokes in this. So he did have to get sick and die for that material to exist. So
absolutely.
that was an important part.
Shouts out. Went down to hell. So at whatever level you feel comfortable doing, I would love to have you walk us through some of the things you talk about in the special.
Sure.
You know, you have this revelation that it's so unique, the scenarios you found yourself in. And I find family secrets in general, especially men having secret families, wildly not unique. No longer as common as we once thought with the revelation of 23andMe and technology that allows us to track things. The way in which you found out this information and it unfolded, wildly unique. Because you talk about in the special, like, how you found out about this.
Yeah.
And it was that you walked in on it.
Yeah.
Basically, do you mind, like, walking through what that might have felt like?
Yeah. So in the special, I don't specify this. I didn't walk in on him actually with like doing something with another woman.
Right.
The reality of what happened was that before entering his office door, heard him having graphic phone sex.
Oh, right, because it was an office.
Yeah,
right.
I was stopped by his office. Yeah. So I didn't specify. I had a joke that I cut about it where I was like, where people would be like, oh, how do you know that it wasn't? Maybe it was your mom he was having phone sex with. And I'm like, have you met my mom?
Let's not do this mental hoops.
My mom,
we know,
literally, like, she wears like pearls and like little cardigan over, and like, and also like kind of like, even at 16, sensed my parents have not fucked in years. Like, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like,
you know that in your bones if you know that it's 16 years old.
Yeah.
But you overheard it.
Yeah.
And then did you walk into the door and confront it, or was it like an instant knowledge that something fishy was going on?
It was an instant knowledge. I did not walk in the door. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened next. Now this is 21 years ago.
And it is hard to remember details of things like this that your whole entire being is unprepared for.
I remember going and getting in my car in the parking lot of his office. And I mean, having what I can only imagine was a panic attack. I'd never had one before, but just like this full body, this is like not happening, like feeling like something, like you're going to die, like physically, like something's very wrong. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I might have just left at that point. I might have not proceeded with visiting my dad. I mean, it's not like at that point I was going to be like, somebody get into Starbucks or what? You know what I mean? So
what are you going to talk about? It's hard to think about that when your brain is all consumed.
So I think I just drove home and left. Wow. And then sat with the information for a certain amount of days. I don't remember if it was 2 days or 2 weeks. Like, I don't remember, you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember. I just remember feeling, I remember feeling like so ashamed and like, I remember at school just being like, feeling like I'm different and I'm weird now. Like, I'm different than everyone else now. You know what
which is such an interesting thing about these choices that other people make and the shame that it brings on us.
Totally.
It's like, wait, what? And it's, there's just something about obviously secrets, but cheating and all these things that like, it can get weirdly reflected back on people, and it shouldn't.
I know.
And I'm so glad that you are doing something that it's like taking back some control of that.
Anytime there's like kids or teenagers going through like some crazy gnarly divorce in their household, I so badly want to be like, I promise it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to get through this, like, you're actually going to be a much more interesting and stronger person because of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, if you experience something like that and you get on the other side of it, it's just like, it's really like, well, okay, what next? I can do this.
Right. Yeah. And I went home, I sat with her for a day, and then I finally went and confronted my dad. We had a guest house at the back of our property, and he was like, he used to have a radio show back in the day, and he loved to he turned his guest house into like a recording studio, and he would mess around and like make episodes of a radio show for fun or whatever. So I knew he was back there alone, and I went back there and I confronted him, and he got very mad. Like, I remember he got so mad that I was like, is my dad going to hurt me?
Really?
Like, it was just like this, like,
he really didn't think he was going to get caught.
It was like a Jekyll and Hyde moment where like I had always experienced my dad as this like really calm, like kind, level person. And then when I confronted him, this like rage came out. Like, you know, when someone just looks crazy in the eyes, when you're like, what is this person capable of?
And had you known that was part of, that could have been an outcome, like, do you think you would have confronted him the same way?
No, I mean, it was like really scary.
Yeah.
I remember it was really scary. It's not, what did I think he was going to say? Probably in my little brain, I thought he was going to be like, I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. I'll fix it. Like whatever. But like, that was not what it was. Yeah. However, it was all those things over the next couple weeks. It was because he said that my mom wouldn't believe me, or he said, your mom won't believe you. He definitely said, you're going to ruin this family if you tell your mom.
Your fault.
Yes,
of
it's
course.
going to be my fault.
Of course it's your fault.
Exactly.
How could it not be your fault?
Right. So
wow.
And he was like, I'm not telling her. And I told him, you have to tell her or I'm telling her. And then we just had a standoff for weeks where like, you know, like I said, he tried to bribe me to not tell her. It would go in and out of like rage and like, you little fucking brat. And you're going to, you know, to being like, sweetie, look, you know, your dad loves you so much. And aren't you enjoying, you know, like, you know, just like a desperate person. Like, let me try anger. Let me try fleeing. Like almost like when you break up with a psychotic ex-boyfriend and every voicemail is like a different person than the last voicemail.
Which I mean, yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and you like see that happening in real time. You're like, what
the screaming, then the crying, then the threatening.
They've had hours go by while they're cycling through these emotions where you're just
they're going to kill you, and they're going to kill themselves, and they're going to, you know what I mean? Like whatever.
They're not going to kill you unless you want them to.
Yeah, like
but that's a lot for a 16-year-old. That is. I mean, the fact that did he tell you your mom's not going to believe you?
Now I don't remember if he said my mom's not going to believe me.
But that seemed to be like kind of reality. It seemed like that when you did eventually tell her.
What I did tell her while he was sitting there and he denied it. And he was sitting there. Oh yeah, he was sitting there. Maybe I didn't mention that in the special. It was just the three of us sitting at dinner and I just like said it. Yeah.
Were you the type of, okay, sorry I'm backtracking here because this is so brave of you to do, to confront somebody, you know, I understand that maybe there's a side of your dad you didn't know, but that is still wildly brave to confront somebody, to want to like kind of right the situation. And regardless, even after someone's telling you this is what could happen when you do this, is that something that was forged in you there? Or did you feel like that was something that you always kind of carried with you where you were like, yeah, I'm somebody if I have this information, I can't just sit on it?
It's a really good question. I truly don't know. No one's ever asked me that before, but I've probably like quietly asked myself that forever. Like where I'm just like, would any 16-year-old have confronted this? Why did I? How was I able to? Like,
aren't you just surprised by yourself sometimes? Where you're just like, wow, I am so surprised at the strength of young me.
I don't know where
in a moment that felt like everything was falling apart.
Like, I don't know where that came from.
It's very brave.
Because I don't think, because it was painful. It was like so uncomfortable. But as I've told people since then, nothing has been uncomfortable since. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, folks, you heard the recipe here. You know, just have this weird situation happen, confront it head on. Your family, maybe everything else disappears and falls apart, and then you're good.
Well, and it just wouldn't. I got so much practice over and over because it's like first I had to confront him, and I'm thinking, okay, this will resolve itself. The adults will take over. I didn't realize at that point I wasn't dealing with an adult. I was dealing with a wounded little child in a grown man's body in a suit. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a lot of problems. Yeah. You know, your little 16-year-old brain, you're like, the grown-ups, surely there'll be an explanation or a grown-up resolution, and I'm going to put it out there, and the grown-ups will take it. No. He denied it, so then I had to tell my mom, and then she didn't believe it, and then as I say in the special, so then my sister and I had to spy on him to catch him, and then we had to get hard evidence to present to my mom. So now you're talking about 3 times that I've had to have like an impossibly difficult conversation, whether it's confronting him or telling my mom or convincing my mom with more information.
Wow. I mean, that was so fascinating to learn that you and your sister took it upon yourselves to be like, we're going to go hunt this down. We're finding this information out. Like where that drive come from? What was your goal with that? I mean, was it just like because I know with me, I have a very strong sense of justice and it gets me, it's very annoying. And because it sounds like I'm bragging and I'm like, I swear, sometimes I'm like, Holly, not everything needs to be like righted. Not every wrong needs to be righted. But was that like, where did that motivation come from to, if your mom was denying it, to just like fully put it in front of her?
It was probably just teenage pride.
Yeah.
It was probably like, no, you're not fucking saying I'm lying. Will. Like I say in the special, it turns out proving to your mom Your dad's cheating is not as enjoyable as you think it would be. It is like a joke.
Yeah.
But it also, there was a lot of realism in that joke in the sense that my sister and I were so driven at first. Like, this is a bad man who will not get away with this. And this is bullshit that he just gets to walk around, continue and enjoy this life. And he gets to, and even like knowing that I know, and he just gets
what he wants.
I'm suffering and he knows that. And he just gets to keep enjoying himself at my expense, at my suffering. Like, no, you know, like, and I think at that point, how my mom was going to feel when she finally got the proof was not in our mind. We were just like so focused on proving it, catching him, showing that we were correct.
Yeah.
We're not liars. You know what I mean? All that. And then we're like jackpot when we like really had hard evidence.
Well, can I ask what the evidence was?
Really stupid, sloppy. It's sloppy of him. He said he was on a business trip in another state. And then my sister's boyfriend at the time spotted him at a gas station in our town.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. With another woman who is actually not the woman of the secret family, but an additional mistress that he had.
What?
It's a whole thing. Yeah. My dad, he had a lot of mistresses, like a lot. A lot has even come out in the last like year that I didn't even know about.
Of course. And I imagine, honestly, more with the special might come out. Just be prepared. I know that for me with my podcast, I've learned some stuff where I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I needed to learn this information, but I did.
Definitely had those moments. Yeah.
Wow.
So he saw her at the gas station and told my sister that. And then I called my dad and was like, what hotel are you staying at? And I don't remember what state or city he said he was in, but it was certainly not our town. And of course, like the rage came out and the stop spying on me. Enough of this bullshit. Just put it to rest. And I like demanded. And I don't know why, but he finally just gave an answer, which was not a real answer because he wasn't in whatever city he said. So I called like whatever hotel, like he gave, the Best Western in blah, 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 Utah or whatever it was. And I like called the place and was like, is there, a man by this name staying here? And I don't even know if they're allowed to share this information, but I mean, the answer was no. So it's not like it sacrifices safety. But they were like, no, there's no one staying here by that name. And then I was like.
And then your mom did believe you?
Yes. So then my sister and I went and told her like, my sister's name was Grace. Grace's boyfriend just spotted dad in town. And then I called the hotel that he said he's at and not staying there. And then, but when she like totally fell apart and, eventually was like, I kind of always knew it was true from the first time that you said it. So I think that's why it was like, she was hanging on by a thread from the first time I brought it up, maybe just wanting to also live in denial about it.
Yeah, denial's a powerful thing. And so is control. Like control, the end game of like telling your mom this, like, of course we have these hopes of like, oh, she's going to kick this ass out the door and all these things. But I mean, what I'm picking up is like something that I recognized in myself so young when I would do these little battles in my family where it's like, I just wanted to be in control of something when everything else fell out of control. I wanted to be the one, like you going to find the information and doing this. Yeah. It's like, I'm in control of this, not you who has left me free falling and my family falling apart.
Yeah.
But that is just so brave of you to do. And detective agency over here. I loved that nod. And it's so this show too, like living in the 90s. They do a Mary-Kate and Ashley nod.
Yeah.
That was too. Also, what I appreciate about that was like your special is so unique. You have this story of like recounting everything that is like, a sadly common thing, but in a very uncommon way that these things play out. And then you throw in like a little niche reference for millennials only.
I know. I was like, there's a
it.
very small group of people they're going to like this, but I like it a lot.
Feels so good to hear. Feels so good.
I don't explain this in the special because I consolidated storylines for like efficiency.
Of course.
But the woman that I first overheard him like having phone sex with and realized he was cheating, that's not the woman that he had a separate family with.
Wow.
So it is just that the discovery of that infidelity led to the divorce, which led to my mom's like legal team doing a deep dive into all my dad's finances, which my mom, bless her heart, never looked at before. They were very much like like old school traditional. Dad pays the bills. Mom, don't worry about it. Don't look at any statements. Just go. Here's a credit card with your name. Go enjoy yourself. But you don't ever need to look at a single statement or anything.
It kind of makes me think like, yeah, I sadly understand the like living in denial part of that. If that's your reality of like, I don't have to deal with anything. Now you're making me try to deal with something.
And I really learned like since this happened, love is communicated through finances. Like finances are a deeply personal thing, you know, because like, and you can exploit what someone doesn't know, you know, like my dad, he really made his money. He had a lot of different businesses. As bad men tend to do, a million businesses.
You mean he had multiple partners and mistresses and businesses? No, the buck stops here. I refuse to believe this.
Had to support them all somehow.
Well, yeah.
But like he was a shark, you know, he's like what do you call it? A shark lender or what?
Oh, a loan shark?
I always say shark lender. And my husband's like, are you talking about someone who lends out sharks? Is that what you're talking about?
Nothing would surprise me in your story at this point if you're just like, yeah, my dad was an exotic animal trainer.
I'm like, no, I didn't misspeak. He would rent people sharks.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you're wanting one right now, huh? So your dad was a shark lender?
A loan shark? Oh my God. One of these days I'll get it right.
I like this version better.
It's ridiculous. So his whole thing was borrowing money low and investing it high, but in a sense that people who were in desperate situations would borrow from him $500,000 at 13%, 15%, or whatever, you know? So he took out a second mortgage on our childhood home, which was a very nice, large house in Montecito. Like they were almost done. They had like 2 years left or something on the original mortgage. And he went to my mom. He's like, yeah, because like mortgage rates were low, right? And he was like, I'm going to take out a second mortgage against the house that who knows what it is. Let's say he was able to do 5% at the time. So that I'm going to lend it to this person over here for 11%. And then we're making a margin. That's how he made his money. And he went to my mom and she had to agree to it because it was their home, you know, like, but she'll tell me to this day, she's like, I didn't really know what that meant. She's like, I didn't even know how mortgages work. I didn't know what it meant to take on a second mortgage. Like, and I'm just like, oh, you got so exploited.
Yeah.
And what that also meant was that within the next, just a handful of years after that, all of this happened. She got the house in the divorce. But the house had an enormous mortgage on it.
And she got that too. She had to.
Of course, yeah. You get a house, you get whatever mortgage comes with it. And she wasn't prepared to pay for that. So she had to sell the house and get really no money like left after. You know what I'm saying? Like, so do you see what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah. The layers of manipulation that are involved. It's like you can really just peel back any part of the story and almost be like, that was also manipulation. And that was manipulation. Yeah. And like, you know, not to give them any credit, these people, but how do they do it? How do they do it?
It's like so many moving parts. Detail oriented. But eventually the details start to slip. And that's how you don't get whatever it is. You forget your daughter's stopping by your office today at this time, so you're still on the phone sex call. You whatever. Oh, I'll just stop for one gas trip in the middle of this town where I live, even though I said I'm somewhere. Should have filled out the gas tank somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like, and then these little details too, that if it didn't happen that way, like I firmly believe you would have found out at some point.
Oh, from what's happened to 1,000%. When my sister was telling me this happened, like my sister and I are 2.5 years apart. So I was 16 when this happened. She was 18 and a half. And then what she told me when she was like 20 or 21, she worked as an assistant for my dad at his office. This is after they divorced. Wow. And like he has like so much stuff and files, and he told her to go through like a box of old photos because he was always really big and like digitizing old photos, like when that became a thing, you know, forever ago. He gave her a bunch of boxes. He goes, I want you to digitize all these. She goes through them. It's a lot of family photos mixed with like a bunch of nude photos of some random women. And at this point, everything's already happened. And she's like, how deep does this go? Oh my God. And he didn't, like, do you think he even remembered that those were in there? Because it's just so much has happened and he's just like, whatever. Post finding this out, what your parents separate. And then what was your dad's next moves? So he had like that mistress at the time. Yeah. That's all the catching happened with this other mistress at the time. The phone call I overheard, him being spotted at this gas station. So he just like, he went on to just be with that woman. Like that's who he officially became partners with. Like they bought a house in the same town as me. He wanted to still live near his daughters. He had a business there. It is where his life was, nonetheless. So, so that's who he went on to be with. And that is someone that I got to know and had a relationship with at one point, but that is not the person he had a secret family with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what's your relationship to that?
No, I know nothing. Oh, so that, So I didn't know anything about that until I would say the years from like 16 to like 21 were a mess for me. Like, obviously this will mess you up.
Yeah.
A lot, and I was like, I went to NYU intentionally. I wanted to get as far away as possible. I was growing up in Southern California. I went to New York. I was living out there. I wouldn't talk to my dad for like almost 3 years. I wouldn't speak to him. And it was during this time that my mom found out about like this whole second home and like kids he was taking care of this other woman. And my understanding is that it wasn't even like a romantic involvement like at that point, and hadn't been for a while with this woman, but like the financial support was like still there. But I had so much going on. Like I didn't want to talk to him, so I didn't care. To me, it was like, doesn't matter to me. Oh, you found out more worse stuff? I don't give a shit. I'm never talking to this man again. That was my perspective at that time. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, add it to the list. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't care.
You're like, what do you think? What do you think this is going to make me talk to him? I'm already not. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So it's just like, whatever. I honestly, like, I was so angry at him that I didn't even think he deserved real estate in my brain. Where I was like, I don't even want to, like, whatever my mom would try to tell me, I was like, I don't even care. I was like, I don't even want, he doesn't deserve my thoughts. Like, that's the level of anger at that age, And by the way, my dad and I went on to have as good as a relationship as you can have later in my adulthood. But at that time, being 18, freshman in college, you know what I mean?
But you had mentioned, it seemed like other people knew, like your friends maybe. Did you tell your friends about this when it was happening? Did anyone in your orbit know about this except for your family?
Yeah, I told all my friends.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I told all my friends, yeah.
I mean, did it unburden you to tell them in any way? Or did you, because you mentioned feeling like you looked around and you're like, I'm weird now. I have this thing that other people don't have and I know this. But did you, when you told anybody, did it help? Or was it more like, well, I'm this girl now and I'm digging my heels in?
I think it's like, it's interesting because it's the age at which this happened, which is like, at first I was like this popular little bubbly blonde at this very preppy school, and everybody was perfect and everything was happy and everyone drove Range Rovers and blah, 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 blah. And suddenly I felt like I was this ugly, dark anomaly that like didn't fit in there, and it felt bad. But that's because I was 16. By the time you're 18 or 19 and going to NYU, it actually feels pretty good to be the troubled one. Very mysterious. You know what I mean?
Yes,
where you're just like, everyone's going to find me so fascinating because of my trauma. And then, like that. So then it was like,
especially NYU, you go to a big city where it's like, I'm meeting
people.
all these people with all these different backgrounds and look what's in my background.
Guess what I did? Yeah. That's like a whole other thing.
So badge of honor.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that was like, what was it? Yeah. So it's not like, to say did it unburden me? No, it's more like, it's something I embraced for the wrong reasons. We're all looking for a reason to be interesting at 18, especially when we moved from a little town to a big city with all these artsy people. So like, it was like a badge of honor at that point. But then, but no, I mean, I think I felt deeply burdened in general as a human being. I did not feel well at the time. I developed a really terrible eating disorder in college. There was definitely a response to this, like I have no control over this. I have control over this, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Very basic psychology stuff. Like,
like blah, 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 blah. And listeners at home are like, wait, what? That's me. I didn't know. I mean, I relate to that so intensely because I have OCD, and OCD, while you can be like genetically predisposed, there's some science behind that. It is also heavily known to be a trauma response. Yeah. Because you're just like obsessively looking for control. Yeah. And there's something about secrets. There's something about like opening up a can of worms. There's nothing in your brain that would have, like you're saying with your dad, you saw another side of him. And like, there's no way to prepare for that. And it's like, there is an element of free falling and trying to be like, what can I grab onto? I'm going to grab onto this. It makes me look cool at NYU. Okay, that's what I can grab onto. Yes. And then also can result in destructive things as well. Yeah. How did that process play out when you were like, say, I know obviously you're married now, but when you were dating, I know I can look back on my relationships and be like, wow, my trauma affected me there, and there. And that also prompted me to pick this kind of person. And that, like, did you see that play out at all when you were starting to date, or were you just running the exact opposite direction and full steam ahead looking for nothing like what you were dealing with?
So it's it's interesting. It's complicated. It is complicated because I understood one thing. I understood that my mom and dad were not best friends. I understood that those were two people who were married but did not know each other.
Yeah.
And that's part of how this happens. Look, one day I might be on here being like, my husband had a secret family. I thought I knew that motherfucker. You know what I mean? But like, hopefully not. You know what I mean? But like at the end of the, you can never fully prevent anything. You can never fully know anyone, but ultimately I know now, like having gotten to know my dad as an adult later, I would sit with him as an adult and I'd be like, Mom. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Like this, like, I know that the psychology talk that is everywhere today on social media and very prominent for my generation, thank God, wasn't there for you. But like, even just intuitively, this is a man who's concealing a lot.
Yeah.
You can feel this in him through a 10-minute conversation with him.
It's super palpable.
Yes. And like also behaviors that are really messed up. Like he had really crazy codependency issues. That's why second family, in addition to multiple mistresses. When him and my mom were trying to like figure out their like divorce and like he was begging to stay with her, she found out he was still talking to his mistress. And when she asked him why, he said, well, just because in case you decide to leave me, I want to make sure someone else is there. Like, so you're talking about like a little, just like this person with serious issues who craves like serious codependency issues. And I can witness that, and I'd watch him and I'd watch how that played out in his next relationship. And it's like clear as day. And I can identify that in adults and my peers now. And I'm like, how did my mom not pick up on this in this man? Like, it's so obvious to me. It's obvious to like my boyfriend at the time. He was my boyfriend when he met my dad. Now he's my husband, my sister's boyfriend. Like other adults will meet my dad and they'll be like, oh yeah, like all we have to do is like sit with him for a little bit. And there's like some shifty shit going on. And like
I don't know. I have no stats to know how prevalent secret families are. I can't wait to find out the women that have done this. That's what I'm so excited to find out that like my mom had like 3 families and we had no idea. But the stats of like men doing this are so in the favor of generations before ours because of all the technology that has arisen. But also within that is these eras of like people doing things to check boxes. Yes. Like getting married to check a box, having family. And it doesn't mean that they didn't want to, but that's still playing in the back of their mind. Of like having to do all these things to check a box. So I can somewhat understand like living in a denial state because you're like, but I'm doing the thing people told me to do.
Yeah, totally. So, well, even to this day, like my dad never like apologized to me for any of this.
Of course not.
To this day, he's like, I'm a good dad. I paid for your college.
Yeah.
And I taught you to drive, and I never, he
Checking
never hit me or anything. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I'm a good dad. I was a provider. This other stuff, me cheating on your mom, that has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Like that's like his perspective.
Right.
Was his perspective,
Wow. I mean, he passed a few years ago. Before he died, were you like hoping for some type of reconciliation or acknowledgement there? Because I mean, I was. I'm not admit it. Of course I was. I was like, God damn, I wish my parents could look at me and be like, hey, we get it. We know. Yeah. We're sorry. XYZ behaviors that you exhibited make a lot of sense. And we really vilified for you for them at the time. Like, was that something that you were, or was it such a, so much time had passed kind of thing where you're like, I just can't.
We had learned, I say we because my sister and I, who's like one of my best friends now, we love to psychoanalyze everyone because
love that.
Our dad was our first patient.
Wow, so many careers unfolding. Detective, psychologist. You're like, hey, maybe your dad could take credit for that too. Look at the skills I gave you.
Yeah. There came a point where we knew our dad, he was just old and the work wasn't going to be done at this point.
Yeah.
The things that happen when in your youth, they affect you forever.
Exactly.
Or the things that don't happen, it's hard to get back. It's hard to make up for it.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is there came a point where we realized there was a lot wrong with my dad emotionally and psychologically. And we didn't have the tools to change that. That would be something he'd have to internally want to do. So I definitely knew that no apology was coming. Because if he were to apologize, that would unravel all these like psychological structures that he was holding on to protect himself. There even came a point as he was quite old where I thought, at this point, I hope my dad doesn't ever realize what he did, because I think it would be so painful for him. And there's no time left to fix it.
Wow. So like, because he does, like you're
sorry.
saying, there's this level of knowing that these people have that are doing these things. There's a level of like, they know, but then how kind of like sitting with the realization is a different level of knowing.
Yes. Like if he were to to the day he died, he would assert that he was a great dad and he didn't do anything to us. Wow. And if he were to like suddenly, like someone could wave a wand and he could like some magical moment, like in a movie, feel all the pain that he put us through and all the shit, all the therapy we've had to do, the crazy deep breath work, the whatever, every drug we've had to try, everything that we've like, this like just shaped us so much and hurt us so much.
Yeah.
I realized like, I'm at peace with this. I don't need him to apologize or no. I'm not angry anymore, so I don't need to punish him with like the pain he would feel if he opened his eyes to what he'd done. So at this point, I would just feel bad. You're looking at him. He was 79 when he passed. I think maybe when he was about 75 and I could see his health deteriorating, I started to think, at this point, let's just sort of maintain the status quo. I understand that there is a closeness I'm never going to have with this man. Because have you ever heard the saying, people can only meet you as deeply as they met themselves?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Right. So he hadn't met himself. So there was a closeness we were never going to achieve. But I was like, it's going to be what it is. I'd rather at this point that he never understands, because he's old as shit. And it's just, what's he going to do? We're going to go to therapy now?
What are you going to have to deal with?
Yeah. Like
if he does,
I almost don't, you know what I mean? I almost want to be like, I already did all this.
Yes, totally.
I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. I mean,
I went to therapy without you because you didn't want to go, because you don't believe in therapy.
I mean,
so we're done here.
the saying, it's so true. The body keeps the score. And like, sometimes I feel like when you've gone through something so, life-changing and shaping and fundamental to the future of your life, and if it ever comes up again, the body keeps the score. The body's like, nope, X, done. Don't want to deal with this ever again.
Yes.
But also I'm just hearing like such a tremendous amount of, on your dad's end, unearned, but empathy that you have for being able to, like, you've been forced in these situations to have to then really quickly psychoanalyze people so that you can, like, at least for me, I would do that to feel safe. Because I'm like, the sooner I can psychoanalyze you, the more I can understand, and nothing's going to catch me off guard. And I'm just really taken aback by your empathy by saying something like that, of like, I don't want him to know at a certain point. I don't want him to sit with these feelings, because he might not be able to handle it. And that's just very empathetic to understanding the type of person that you're dealing with, and also the kind of relationship that you're like, I can still have a relationship with you. And it's because you're so empathetic and you understand all the things that he's unwilling to look at. So just huge testament to you and the therapy you did, clearly, A+ to therapists out there, because that is really big. I'd never heard that of somebody putting it like that. I mean, it's beautiful to hear. I really appreciated hearing that.
Oh, well, that's, I wouldn't be surprised if that dynamic exists between a lot of millennials and older parents.
So
it doesn't have to be all the time. It's just my dad was particularly old, because like he had me when he was like almost 50.
Yeah, because you mentioned that he had other kids before, right?
Yeah. I have a half brother who's going to be like 60 years old soon.
Wow.
Like, that I've always known about. That was like, from my dad's first marriage. But the point being is that like we are like so much awakening to things like emotional regulation and addressing issues of self-worth head on, and like and like the tools that we're at least trying, whether it's breath work, ayahuasca, therapy, we're trying to really like we are addressing things in a way that like previous generations just didn't. And I think a lot of millennials, or maybe Gen X, maybe with older parents, you have a child whose parent is a child themselves. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%. It's what's the word? Not epidemic. Yeah, epidemic. Really.
Yeah.
Okay, Julia, we're going to play a mini game to wrap things up. And where this comes from, this mini game, is inspired by season 1 of this show, where I look at the lens of my family through sitcoms. And what I end up doing is creating my very own fucked up, unhinged family sitcom. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to turn the tables and have that happen for you. And we're going to play a game where we see what kind of weird family sitcom fate has in store for you. Because as I get to know people and hear other stories of secret families and trauma and this and that, I am just bewildered by the fact that things can be so bizarre that you'd feel like it was cooked up in a writer's room. Yeah. And you're like, nope, this is actually too crazy for a TV show.
Yeah.
So here's how this game works. It's sitcoms. They're built on exaggerated stereotypes. You know, we've got like the quirky one, the quirky neighbor, the wise mentor, or the clean freak. So I'm going to give you 2 sitcom stereotypes for each category, and you just pick whichever one speaks to you. Don't overthink it. I'm not going to tell you what you picked, your prompt, what the answer means, until I read the Mad Libs style TV guide description of your very own unhinged sitcom.
Okay.
All righty. So we're going to start with your sitcom spouse. Actually, Julia, what we're going to start with is you mentioned Montecito. Is that where you grew up?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to start with your sitcom spouse. Would you prefer a spouse that's a chaotic free spirit or more of a stay-at-home spouse?
Stay-at-home spouse.
Wow. All right.
That was a hard decision.
I think it's...
Because my husband is a perfect blend of the two.
Oh.
I could never imagine having to pick one.
Yeah, I get it. All righty. So then, sitcom job. Would you rather have a career in science or a career in entertainment?
Entertainment. Does anyone say science? Oh, this is only your second time doing it, right? So
my husband chose science.
Okay.
So I think that just shows he's burned. He's burned by entertainment. Sitcom pet. Would you rather have a small one with a big personality or a big one with a big personality?
Oh, the first.
All righty. And then we've got 2 more sitcom hangouts. You're going to choose the stereotypical sitcom hangout location. Would you rather be shopping or dining?
Dining.
All righty. Okay. And then lastly, because my show had a family secret and because your life obviously got a little secret in there too, would you rather have your family secret have to do with a doppelganger or something supernatural?
Oh, supernatural. I actually was just kind of confused. I was like, what would the secret even be if it was a doppelganger? Just that there was a doppelganger. I was like, I don't understand.
I drew a lot of inspiration for this game from really bizarre, outlandish types of themed shows like Sabrina the Teenage Witch is about a witch who grew up in, or Small Wonder is about a little girl who's a robot. And I'm like, well, we can make a weirder sitcom than that, I bet. All right, I'm going to read you the description of your family sitcom. Meet Julia from Montecito. She's balancing life with Peg Bundy, a career as the crocodile hunter's human bait, their family pet, Scrappy Doo, and another trip to a coffee shop before work, during work, and after work somehow. But her biggest problem, oh boy, it's that every full moon she becomes a werewolf thirsty for virgin blood. And that's your family sitcom.
I like it.
Absolutely unhinged. We'll name it later.
I like that they're at the coffee shop 3 times a day for no reason. That's so true.
Yeah. When I was making this, I was like, where do people hang out? Only coffee shops, apparently.
Yeah.
That's a large thing. So
it's perfect.
Well, Julia, before you go, I just want to give you an opportunity again to just let people know where they can find you.
I am on YouTube at Julia Austin Comedy. And that's the most important at this point.
Oh, perfect.
Just go check that out.
Yeah. Find her on YouTube.
Yeah.
She's got an incredible special and she obviously does so much more content outside of that. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And talking about all this. This was a wild ride. I am honored to be any small journey on this with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody Knows But Me is a production of Companion and Next Chapter podcasts. This episode was written by me, Holly Brown. Make sure you follow Julia at Julia Austin Was Taken on Instagram and watch her special, My Dad Had a Secret Family on YouTube. Our lead producer, editor, music supervisor, and sound designer is Pete Musto. Our associate producer is Ilana Nevins. Our video editor is Alex Musto. Our original theme music is by Kyle Murdock. Our show artwork was created by Aaron Hill. Our executive producers are Jeremiah Tittle and me, Holly Brown. New episodes of Everybody Knows But Me come out every Wednesday. Go to patreon.com/everybodyknowsbutme to support this show starting at just $5 a month. And follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, youtube.com/@everybodyknowspodcast, or wherever you get great content like ours. Oh, and do you have a story of family secrets or darkly funny drama that you want to share? We want to hear it. Email us at everybodyknowspod@gmail.com. And make sure you leave us a rating, review, or drop a comment telling us what you liked about the show. Follow me at Holly Brown Comedy and the show on all social media at Everybody Knows But Me. And come back next week to hear more of the stories we tell ourselves to survive.